Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. I'm Mark, and as always, I'm joined by the one and only Jenny.
Hey Mark, always a pleasure. And today we're diving into something pretty interesting, right? It's this new platform from Altorney called MARC.
Oh yeah, Mark. This is where it gets cool. It's a generative AI platform, but, and here's the important part, it's designed to operate behind the firewall for legal discovery. We're talking serious, high-level security here.
Okay, wait, hold on a sec. Behind the firewall. ... That means it's all happening within a company's own systems, not out in the cloud somewhere, right?
Exactly. Think of it like this. Most AI tools are like borrowing a car. You're using someone else's infrastructure. MARC is like building your time zone, super secure, custom-built racetrack, right in your backyard. No sharing.
That's a great analogy. So why is this so important for legal teams, specifically?
Here's the deal. Legal discovery involves incredibly sensitive data. Think confidential documents, trade secrets, client communications. You really times don't want that floating around on external servers. Behind the firewall keeps it all locked down, tight.
I can already hear our listeners thinking, okay, security, got it. But what does it do?
So basically, MARC is automating some of the most tedious, time-consuming parts of legal discovery. We're talking about things like responsiveness review, figuring out which documents are actually relevant to a case.
Oh, I've heard of that. It's like finding the needle in a haystack, but the haystack is made of millions of digital documents, right?
Precisely. And MARC is also tackling privilege assessment, identifying documents protected by attorney-client privilege. Another huge times headache for legal teams.
So it's like having a super smart, super fast legal assistant that never gets tired and, ideally, never makes mistakes?
Well, no. AI is times perfect. But the idea is to drastically reduce human error and speed up the process significantly. They're claiming, for instance, major time savings on privilege assessment. We're talking hours and hours of work, potentially saved.
That's impressive. But it also makes me wonder, how does MARC integrate with the tools legal teams are already using?
That's where the Microsoft 365 Purview integration comes in. It's, when you have all your apps connected on your phone? It's like that, but for legal data. Seamless, hopefully.
So it's not a completely separate system they have to learn from the ground up?
Right. It's designed to play nicely with the existing Microsoft ecosystem, which is a big plus for companies already invested in that infrastructure. Smart move, I think.
Okay, this is starting to sound like more than just a security upgrade. It sounds like a whole workflow overhaul.
It is. And we haven't even touched on the expert opinions yet. I was just reading about this. And Altorney's CEO, Shimmy Messing, he's positioning MRC as a way to unify the entire discovery workflow.
Unify? What does that mean in, practical terms?
Think about the current process. Often, legal teams have to coordinate with outside counsel, vendors, multiple software platforms. It's a bit chaotic. SK aims to bring it all under one roof, so to speak. Streamlining.
And I'm guessing that also means more control over the whole process?
You got it. And Stephen Goldstein, Altorney's CPO, he's a veteran in the e-discovery world. He's emphasizing the transparency times of MARC. He says it's crucial for defensibility in court, compared to the black box approaches of some older tools.
That makes perfect sense. You need to be able to show your work, especially in legal proceedings. No hidden magic.
Exactly. It's all about having that audit trail, that proof of how decisions were made. Super important.
So we've covered security, automation, integration. What about the bigger picture? Where does MARC fit in the overall landscape of legal technology?
Great question. There are other e-discovery platforms out there, some with AI, some without. But the behind-the-firewall aspect is a key differentiator for MARC. It's targeting a specific need: maximum security and control.
It's like they're carving out a niche for themselves in a pretty crowded market.
Exactly. And it's a niche with growing demand, especially with all the increasing regulations around data privacy, GDPR, and all that.
Speaking of regulations, are there any ethical considerations we should be thinking about with AI taking on these legal tasks?
Oh, definitely. There's the whole question of algorithmic bias, making sure the AI isn't perpetuating existing inequalities. Like, how can we be sure times it's fair?
Right. And how do we even detect times that kind of bias in something so complex?
That's the challenge. The research suggests regular auditing, testing, and making sure the training data is diverse and unbiased. Easier said than done, though, I imagine.
And then there's the impact on legal jobs. Is AI going to replace lawyers?
That's the big question, isn't it? Are we going to see a robot lawyer in court anytime soon?
I doubt that. My bet is still on humans for courtroom drama.
Probably not anytime soon. I think, and most experts agree, that the focus is on augmenting times human capabilities, not replacing them entirely. It's about freeing up lawyers to focus on the more strategic, complex parts of their work, the stuff that needs a human touch.
So more like a superpowered paralegal than a full-on attorney replacement.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And Altorney seems to be emphasizing human oversight in the MARC process. They aren't just letting the AI run wild. Which is reassuring.
It is. So what does the future look like for MARC? Is it available now?
It's a very recent launch, so widespread adoption is still in the early stages. But Altorney has plans to expand its capabilities, and they're tapping into a growing trend. AI adoption in legal. It's happening.
It'll be interesting to see how it performs in the real world once we start getting some user feedback. Real-world tests are key.
Right, that's the missing piece for now. But the potential is definitely there. I am starting to imagine all the different places it could be used.
It's a space to watch. Legal teams, IT departments, anyone dealing with lots of sensitive data, they should be paying attention.
Couldn't agree more. It's a great example of how AI is being applied in a very practical, high-stakes field, not just theory anymore.
And it's another reminder that AI isn't just some futuristic concept. It's here, it's evolving, and it's changing how we work, right now.
Before we go, let's throw out a question to our listeners. We've talked a lot about the benefits, but what kinds of concerns do you have about AI in legal tech? Let us know on social media. Use the hashtag #AIINLaw. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Ooh, I like that. A little listener engagement. Maybe we can even feature some responses on a future episode?
Great idea. We could even do a debate time segment. We will have to plan that. Well said, Jenny. Thanks for breaking this down with me. And thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week with more explorations in the tech world.
Looking forward to it, Mark. Until next time, stay curious, everyone.